Today we're talking about Italy's real estate reciprocity, and I have again with me the beautiful Susanna. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We wanted to get your input. Italy is probably one of the few, if not the only country in the European Union that says, hey, you know what, if you want to come into our country and purchase real estate, they want to make sure that the country the person is from, the country of citizenship, also allows an Italian to purchase real estate. What's your take on this? And if you can explain a little bit about what you know about it.
I think the mentality behind this is that if you are allowing our citizens to buy a house and invest in your country, then we will allow the same. So I think that was the perspective that this whole regulation came to be. I won't say I'm 100% in agreement with this. When someone is the only country that does something, then I'm like, why? But also I feel like in a lot of countries, Italian citizens are allowed to buy property. So that's good because it means that it kind of cancels out this reciprocity clause, right? Because if everyone, especially I think in the Schengen area, I think Italians are allowed to buy land everywhere. So if you're allowed to buy real estate everywhere, then on the other hand, that means that, anyone from these countries can purchase real estate in Italy. So I think I do not agree maybe with the principles behind it. But on the other hand, I think it doesn't close as many doors to people, right?
What I want to add here is that if you go to a different EU country, you go to the country of Austria, say, or Spain, or you want to go even to Bulgaria, right? Certain countries joined much more recently than others did. What's good about here is that an EU citizen can purchase land, property, apartments in Italy without any problem, right? An EU citizen, they can do that. So the whole European Union is based on reciprocity. But then it's like, if somebody comes in, someone who's outside, right, the EU, if the citizenship is from a different region, then Italy says, okay, you want to come here? Not a problem. You want to buy land? Well, hold on. We want to make sure that our citizens are allowed to buy land in your country. I personally think that is great, and let me tell you why. I lived in Vietnam for a long time. I've worked in Hong Kong. I've worked in Singapore. I had a company there. So I've experienced so much in terms of rule of law, and this is what it is. It's rule of law. It's reciprocity, right? Italy wants to make sure that countries are reciprocal if they're coming in from outside the EU. I actually think that's a great concept because we are protecting people, our own people. And another thing that also applies here, just take a look how difficult it is to rent an Airbnb in Rome, the greater Rome area. It's impossible, so it's highly regulated. It's the same as what they now did in Portugal, where they said, wow, we got to protect our citizens. Housing has become unaffordable in Lisbon and Porto. And you can guess why. Americans moved to these cities and they purchased a lot of real estate. But it isn't just about Americans and Canadians coming in, right? So I'm not pointing the finger now. If you're from Canada or the US, I'm not pointing the finger at you saying, oh, it's because of you. No, also many other people moved to Lisbon and Porto from the EU, for instance, and they are all renting in these cities. These are the most attractive cities, right? And having lived in different regions where I was not able to buy land, I seriously considered buying an apartment in Vietnam until I realized that the legal situation was not in my favor. Do I want to buy an apartment there without a path to citizenship, which is the essence?
Now that I see your point, it makes a lot of sense, I have to say, that this thing kind of shelters EU citizens and allows even the money flow to stay within the citizens. Because if someone from outside the European Union comes and purchase land, let's say real estate, and then they put that real estate they purchase they set it up to be an Airbnb, then they're gonna of course rightfully gain money from that. But also I think it's a protection aspect that our country applies to us, just saying, okay, if you want to purchase this real estate and make it into an Airbnb, you can definitely do that, and that's your money. But just let's keep it between the European Union citizens, so between those that actually have the privilege in a way to stay in the Union. So I think that even economically, just having everything is kind of an opportunity that they want to give to the citizens of the European Union rather than those that are not included in the Union. It does make sense in this way.
Yeah, and so if you're coming from America and Canada, you have nothing to worry about. First of all, your countries allow Italian citizens to purchase land, and so you guys are not at risk of not being able to purchase real estate here. We've talked about, we've actually done a video on how you can buy a €1 house in Italy, which is a great concept, I think. There are so many towns in Italy where more people are dying than are being born. And so the government is like looking for a way to recaptivate those towns. And you can't blame the government for doing this. It's actually a great deal, right? If you're coming here as a first-time resident, we've talked about the great tax advantages people can access. It's like the icing on the cake. What you get is a €1 house. But there are some contingencies. You have to renovate it. The house purchase works just as any other place, meaning you have to pay taxes, right? You have to go to the notary. There are certain steps involved. You're not going to escape from that. It's still the same process. However, on the other hand, Italy is a big country. Like, if you want the metropolitan lifestyle, you can have that in Rome and Milan.
In Naples as well, you might, that's the kind of lifestyle that you look for.
Or if there are people that want it more relaxed, I mean, you can also find that. You know, look at Italy's coastline. It's massive. I probably think that Italy has the biggest coastline in whole Europe.
I think so, yeah. Either Italy or France. But I mean, the way that we put to use our coastline, it's incomparable to other countries just because we, on both sides, have, very beautiful shores and, beach walks. And that actually applies on the east side, west side, and the southern side, which is the most beautiful in my opinion. So I think that what Italy does with its coastline or its land in general is just like incomparable to all the countries in Europe that do the same, Which country has its qualities? In France, they have amazing things. In Spain as well, Portugal. But I feel like we have the most variation, like the most diversity, let's say, meaning that we can go and ski, and then 1 hour later we can be sunbathing on the coast. So that's pretty amazing about Italy.
I think so too. Like, you would think it's an all-in-one package. You get beautiful beaches, pristine beaches, and since Italy got so much coastline, you would also think that you're probably going to find some beaches that are sort of untouched, like virgin beaches, or potentially beaches with not too many tourists, not a lot of people there, right? So this is like great. Austria is a landlocked country. We don't have any beaches, but we got beautiful lakes. However, it's in no way comparable to what Italy offers, Anyway, if you want to come here, and again, we've been talking now about reciprocity in property rights, which is, I think, a really important topic. More people should be jumping on this wagon and just trying to figure out how we can make it more reciprocal from people from everywhere. I really think that's important. And the reason why I think this is more important than ever, Susanna, is because we're living in a globalized world. If we would still be living in a not globalized world, I think it would be less important. The importance factor would be much lower than it is now. But since people are very international, right? There are many international people now that want to invest. And what's important for our clients when they want to invest is to be protected by the Constitution, which there are in Italy. And so there are many people coming in that want to be safe with their investment. And it resonates on so many levels. What are some other thoughts or some final thoughts that you would like to pass on when it comes to the reciprocity principle? Like, why do you think Canadians, Americans should come here, buy real estate in Italy? What's your take here? If you can give us like one final tip.
I think it just links to what I said before. It's good that Italy protects us as citizens, but also like we are in a world that, as you said, is globalized, but also struggles, right? And is struggling with war, and we had just had a pandemic, so a lot of things happen. Given that, it's good that we have this, I don't want to say the word contamination because sometimes it sounds negative in a way, it has like a negative feel on it, but honestly, I mean it in the most positive way. It's so good to have welcome people here, and if those people that are welcomed here, they can bring something to the country, so they can invest in the country because they believe in this reality and in the country itself, then that's like such a great opportunity for us as well as citizens, as Italians, to just experience also like the way that other people do things, because maybe we don't have the same entrepreneur approach that they have in the US or in Canada. It's coming back. Right, it will come back, but for now, I think we need to learn something from those countries that are doing great things with their investments in real estate or other kind of investments. I think we are really like a little bit behind on this, just being an European country, it makes you very aware of a lot of things, but not of all things. So on real estate investments, I think we just sometimes have to stay there, sit and watch other people that already have done that in their countries do that here. So the Airbnbs is really new to us, It has been something that has been going on for about I don't know, the last 8 years, 10 years, I don't know. But like, of course, it's been around a little bit, but in Italy, it arrived a little bit later, right? We had hotels, and that's what we had. And they were, built to be hotels, and they had to have some criteria to be eligible to be hotels. Now you can buy property, you can rent it out, and, there's going to be the Jubilee in a couple of years. So the Jubilee, for those who don't know, it's a really important religious like festivity that lasts 1 year, and it attracts pilgrims from all over the world. So Rome is going to be the center of that, and it's going to be packed with people looking for Airbnbs. So how good could that be if someone that really knows how to manage guests opens up an Airbnb from now to let's say from now to a year? They could make so many good investments with that. And I think, to learn something, you have to watch something being done properly. So I think I'm really excited to see if people are going to do that.
Well, thank you for explaining this. I wanted to add one more thought to this, because we talked about the unavailability for Airbnbs in Rome. So this applies to Rome, but I'm not talking about all cities in Italy. For instance, if you take a look at like Naples, or if you take a look at Sicily, there are plenty of Airbnbs in these two regions, right? The city of Naples, Sicily, or if you want to go to Sardinia or other regions, just as an investment property, I think it would be a good idea to have an apartment in Italy. If you want to come here, live here for, say, a couple months a year, not a problem. And then you can find a charming and intelligent property manager. Maybe someone like Susanna would be ideal. There are plenty of people available, right? So with these tax incentives, I mean, people have a reason to come here more than they did before, especially if we're talking about from an investment perspective. Now people are coming here because it is more open than it used to be. I personally hope that more countries in Western Europe will kind of follow lead here with Italy and kind of open up and make the tax situation a lot more appealing. For instance, Austria got a horrible tax system, incredibly high taxes. But my father told me, don't sweat it. Taxes have been higher in the past. I'm like, really? I actually didn't believe that. Then I looked it up. In fact, they were higher. Incredible that they were higher, right? Anyway, good things are on the way for Italy. If you have any questions about purchasing real estate in Italy, you're welcome to leave a comment below. If you want to reach out to us, you should see the website link displayed in the video now, right underneath. Thanks again for coming, and I see you then next time.
Okay, thanks.